The following program is powered by Ride the Wave Media.
Introducing the best podcast in Utah, Radio Daybreak. Here are your hosts, Just Plain and Bex.
Oh, yes, here we go. Another episode. This is going to be the biggest one yet, Bex. We got the most guests.
So excited. Yeah.
Most guests we've ever had on. We got a author from Daybreak right here. He's going to be on. We've got a podcast coach. And we've got a former NFL player and one of my buddies with him too. We won't talk about him.
Gosh.
No,
You've been busy this week, to say
I'm kidding, but yeah, that's true. But that guy I'm talking about is Alex Hardy, and he's a veteran in his own right. So don't get that too twisted. But what are you wearing? Is that a Radio Daybreak hoodie?
Yeah, I got my new Radio Daybreak gear on. Hey, don't you worry, I got one for you too.
Oh, I can't wait. Where can we buy this?
Yes, absolutely. They will be available on our website soon.
So we got hoodies, hats, shirts.
We've got hoodies, we've got sweatshirts, we've got the zip ups, we've got t-shirts and hats, all kinds of swag. You guys got to check out our website.
I love it. So that's radiodaybreak.com. You can check out our new merch.
There being envious. Yeah.
Right?
So
I love that.
I got yours too, Blaine. I got yours too.
What else is going on? What did you do this week?
Well, hello, the Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl's coming up. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl with our former NFL player later on in the show. And we're going to talk about the biggest question of all. We're not even going to mention it now. We know what that is.
Don't give it away.
It's not even about the game. You already know. But let's get to our first guest. We got Skylar from UtahHustlers.com. It's a podcast called Utah Hustlers.
I got to ask him. We got to know where that name came from. Skylar, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. This has been a little bit of a, I don't know if I should say dream or like desire to be on this podcast. Okay, so it took me forever to find a name for Utah Hustlers. Because usually how I name anything, whether it's a side hustle business or a podcast, I just get everything out on paper or on just like notes on my iPad. I'll just put down like 50 names. The weird ones, the good ones, and I'll just mix and match things. And what I actually came up with was Utah Built. And that was also going through asking a couple other people. I was like, hey, that sounds cool. That's brandable. That's like something people want to know about. And I didn't see anything. And then I looked on YouTube and someone had started that podcast name, use that name like 3 months before. So I was just barely too late. But I think it was a good thing because I think Utah Hustlers actually speaks more to the audience because that's literally who the podcast is for. It's for the Utah Hustlers. Yeah, so it's for Utah entrepreneurs who have started a business and need help taking it to 10 grand a month. And so that's where Utah Hustlers, we're like the people that are in that grind that don't have money to build big teams yet and to have a huge production for their businesses. It's the entrepreneur that's wearing all the hats, the marketing, the managing, the servicing, all that. So I wanted to help those people become more successful because that's where I'm at. That's where, like, when I started, that's exactly where I was at. So I created the podcast I wanted to listen to. So I was like, I'm going to just interview these people that have done what I'm trying to do and learn from them, and I'll share it with everybody else. So that's where the idea came from. I just wanted to help Utah entrepreneurs, Utah hustlers. And
love it. So jumping into that, like what key advice do you have for emerging podcasters? Because there's so many different directions that when you're first starting this, a lot of different ways that you can monetize your show, especially here in the Utah scene. So what expert advice do you have for those emerging in this venture?
The first thing I would tell anyone, any emerging podcasters, people that want to start a show and think about monetizing it later on, is start with 2 goals. One goal for yourself, like the selfish goal. If you got everything out of this podcast you wanted, what would that be? Do you want to make money? Do you want and how do you want to make money? Is that with sponsors? Do you want to do super chats on YouTube, going live? Do you want to sell your own products and services? And so we got to be very intentional. It's like, hey, what do we want out of this? Because then we can set it up in a way that will eventually lead to that. So set that goal. And then you have to set another goal for your listeners. What is your dream outcome for the listeners? What are they going to get out of it? Because if we only set the goal for ourselves, like what do we want? Probably won't explode because we're not thinking about the people that we're trying to serve. So we want to set the goal. So for my podcast, Utah Hustlers, is I want to help Utah entrepreneurs grow their business to 10 grand a month, but I want to be able to do that, like help them do that within 12 months. So if people listen to it within 6 to 12 months of listening to every single episode and applying it, that's the key. It's not information that's the problem. It's the implementation.
Got to have that
If they-
action.
If they apply it, then in 6 to 12 months, they'll have a 6-figure business. So that was my goal for the listeners. Like, I want the information I bring them to be very specific and very helpful in helping them reach that goal.
I love that. A lot of people out there say podcasting is dead. I have to laugh at those people. It's the same people that were saying radio was dead. Now I've done this for 20 plus years. This ain't going nowhere. It's not going anywhere, man.
No.
You hear this, you hear podcasting's dead or radio's dead, and then you see the news, Smartless, $100 million deal going to SiriusXM from Amazon. Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
hate him or love him, the guy just signed a $250 million deal for his podcast. There's money. There's money out there, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
totally.
But I feel like it always gets a bad rap, man. You want to speak on that? Like, what are you thinking? Is it going to die?
I don't think it'll die. I think it's exploding now more than ever. So in COVID, 2020, 2021, that's when it really exploded because everyone was at home. They're like, all right, I'll start a podcast. And I think it's just been growing from there. And the great thing about a podcast is it gives you a lot of content. So I see a lot of people out there, they want to do affiliate marketing. They want to grow their own coaching businesses or just their own businesses in general. And everyone knows if you're on social media, money follows attention. So the more we can post on social media and give value and get that attention, the more we're going to make. And so with the podcast, the reason why I think it's exploding now more than ever, not to discourage people from starting, like do it. Because there's a lot of people, it's a lot more work than your like the other social media platforms. So still do it. Don't let that scare anyone. But so with the content you can produce from it, so like you record a podcast with a guest, okay? You have the full interview. So let's say it's an hour. So that's a YouTube video. That's also a podcast that goes on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, everywhere.
Absolutely.
Then I make probably 10 to 15 social media clips from those episodes. So there's another 10 to 15 pieces of content. You can create a blog post from it. And I actually use AI to create my blog post. So I have AI tools that transcribe the entire interview, and then it turns it into a blog post. So there's a blog post, and that helps with SEO, getting people to our websites. And then after a while, after you've produced a podcast for, let's say, 50, 100 episodes, you can actually take those episodes and put them into chapters for your book. So it just so much content you can get from it. And I didn't even talk about like taking little one-liners from it and posting it on X, X Twitter, Threads. So there's so much content you can get from it. So I think that's why it's exploding more than ever, is because you can do one thing but have content for 2 to 4 weeks.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So that recycle, repurpose, reuse, work smarter, not harder, right?
Hey,
Like,
I was the repurpose king in radio. We were literally talking about that before you came on.
Yeah,
Like-
we were.
like, I'm always looking for ways to reuse content because you never know who missed it the first time, or you never know what it might catch on this time. Like it always comes across different to see a lot of that content. Now, what led you to want to do this? Like what's your personal journey to get here?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I didn't want to go work for someone else because my dad was an entrepreneur. And I saw that, like the results he was able to create, and he was able to take us on a few more vacations. And I saw some of my friends going on, and I really liked that. So I was like, I want to be able to do that for my family. So I started out 18, knocking doors, doing window washing. And I did that for about a decade. But as I was doing it, I was learning all these skills. Like, okay, what works when knocking doors? Does flyers make more sense? Does knocking on doors make more sense? So anyway, I was doing that, tried, failed, bought this, bought that, lost money here, made money there. And so I did that for a long time and started a bunch of different side hustles, flipped furniture. I bought and sold cars for a while. It was that's actually funny because my parents, I would buy cars when I was 19, 20. And in the intention of keeping it if it didn't sell, but if it did, great. But they're always like, oh, it's not an investment. Like, you won't make money on a car. And I made I think the most I made on a car was I think I made $2,000 in 2 weeks off of a car.
Wow.
And for 19, 20-year-old, I was like,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, 19, 20, you're ready to retire. Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
So you were the very definition of a hustler. So your own personal journey, it sounds like, started off early with this hustle.
I would buy stuff off eBay, sell it locally on KSL, Facebook Marketplace. And but as I was doing like the window cleaning, I would listen to podcasts nonstop, just like, hey, I might as well learn while I'm working, making money. So after so long of listening to them, I would find myself asking the questions that the host was asking their guests. Like I would ask it and then they would ask it immediately. And I was like, okay, maybe I should be a podcast host. And I don't know if that was just like some special intuition I had. I don't think so. I think anyone can do that. But after a while, this idea of like starting a podcast came into my mind because I was also going to personal development seminars, did a bunch of one-on-one coaching, a lot of different things like that. And so I bought all the equipment. It sat in my closet for about 3 months. And then I was just like learning off of YouTube, the University of YouTube. It took like so long because everything's so unorganized on YouTube. So it took forever to learn. But eventually I learned it, started with a friend, and started a couple different shows since then. But that's like how it got started, my idea for a podcast. And eventually it led into starting Utah Hustlers, which is what it is today.
Nice. And now you've got a physical studio too, right?
Yeah. So I have a studio in South Jordan that I record in. But yeah, I built it for me, and it was just like, hey, if other people want to use it, come use it. So I built it with kind of some customizations in mind with the lighting and banners you can put up and things like that. And recently built out another podcast set for people to use. And that's the one I'm sitting in now. And a lot of people are liking it more. I'm liking it a little more because it's a little brighter. But
hey, we saw those pictures. Yeah, we're seeing it now, but we saw those pictures on social. It's nice. Hey, some nice digs.
So if you got anybody out there that wants to come down there and check it out, what do they got to do?
Best way is probably go on Instagram or Facebook and you just type in Utah Podcast Studio. Hit me up there. And yeah.
You can also find out more at utahhustlers.com. That's Skylar's website. And I noticed that you're on a short break from your podcast. When can we expect it to come back?
Let's see, January, February, March. I think I was shooting for March is when I'll have it back. So I'm still doing interviews, still editing. I just wanted to get more ahead of schedule. And I was spending so much time on the podcast that my business is hurting the business a little more. I need to just put a little more time into that. And so I was like, okay, well, this is a lot of information. I have so much to apply for myself, and hopefully the listeners do too. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a little break. I'll keep doing the interviews and just get more ahead of schedule. So that way I don't feel so, bombarded. Yeah, stretched thin. Yeah, exactly.
Blaine and I have been there, Skylar. You are talking our language now.
So that's great stuff, man. And me and you have to be in touch because it sounds like we got a lot of crossover here. So I want to help you, help me, help you. We can help each other.
I'd love it.
Right? We always talk about collaboration. And this is a business. So you talk about having your systems, your tools, your people, your leverage in place.
Hey.
Totally.
I just mentioned 2 shows that are worth $350 million combined. It is a business.
It is a business.
Yeah. Well, and you don't even need to make $350 million to be a successful podcaster. If you just had 1% of that, you'd be doing better than most people. So
better than most because here's a crazy stat I saw, man. You've probably heard this, and if not, you got to pat yourself on the back. But 44% of all podcasts, 3 episodes, and they're done. That's it.
Yeah. 3
and done. That's wild, though, to think that there's that many podcasts out there, and on top of that, 44% fail. Like, they're done. So you gotta. I like what you said in the beginning. Basically, treat it like a business before you start. You can't think, oh, well, maybe something will happen. No. If you think that way, you're going to end up in that 44%. If you ask me.
Exactly. And it is fun, but it is a lot of work.
Can I give your listeners a little like guide on how to start your podcast for free, like today?
Yes, please.
Okay, so first thing to get it out to on either go start a YouTube channel, but you can get on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, all that's free. Go to Spotify for Podcasters. Just Google it. It'll be the first result. You can set up your podcast account. It'll be connected to your Spotify account. And then from there, you download the app on your iPhone or Android, and you can start recording straight from your phone. Talk about something you're passionate about, and you can just start for free. And then if you're like, hey, this is something I want to do more, then hey, I'd love to help you. You guys probably have great advice for podcasters too. So it's easy to start for free. You just got to know where to go.
I love it. All right, that was Skylar from Utah Hustlers, the podcast, utahhustlers.com. Man, that's a great interview. He had some great insight. I loved it. I loved his passion. Yeah, I hope his podcast goes far. We're going to actually be in touch a little bit because we said we got some things in common we got to talk about. So
for sure.
We're going to go down there.
Yeah, we are. I hope to do some more collaboration with him. Super cool guy. I love his message that he's out there, helping other people and getting the word out to, small business owners especially.
Yeah, right here in Utah. So that's big stuff. But later on, we're still going to get into some Super Bowl talk with our correspondent down at Radio Row, Nick Ferguson, former Denver Bronco. But let's get to our next guest, Daybreak's own author. We're going to ask him about these books. Stephen Kloffenstein, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Stephen. So great to have you.
Now, Steven, tell me about this first book.
Yeah, totally. So I started in college and I basically spent years writing this first book that I ever wrote, which had a number of titles, and I ended up never publishing it. I went through the whole process of writing it, editing, queried it to some agents, and ultimately I had to just be like, I think I learned a lot from this process, but it's not like it needs too many fixes to be workable. And so I basically then took everything that I learned from the first book and poured it all into my next book, which actually was published, and I was called The Shadow Watch, which is an epic fantasy. Yeah, you got it too.
I've got it over here. I've got it. This
Yeah.
book's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Let me tell you. Let me just read from the back cover here the description of what the book is. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but ripped from her homeland and sold for a handful of coins, 17-year-old Tori grew up a slave in a foreign empire. All her life, surrounded by injustice and cruelty, she ached for the chance to fight back. This is a dope book right here. Tell me what this
You
book
bet.
is, just in a little bit. What would you compare this book to? Like something else?
sure. I think the closest comparison is the Shadow and Bone series on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
It's a fantasy series that's done pretty well, and I've had many readers say they've gotten some Shadow and Bone vibes from this. So it's like that with a little bit of Game of Thrones and a little bit of Hunger Games mixed in there.
Oh,
Oh man,
Because
I
it's
gotta
about a
dive.
revolution and some things
This
like
is
that. So
this is right up my alley. I need a copy. Maybe a signed copy even would be. I'm gonna throw that out
signed
there.
copies.
I might know a guy.
hey, let me. I gotta
Okay,
read the
go
last
ahead.
sentence on here because this is going to tell you even more and get you more hyped up about this book.
Oh,
Welcome to the breathtaking world of the Shadow Watch, where sorcerers are hunted, monsters rise out of myth, and the fate of all hangs on love and betrayal.
wow.
This is my type of book. I love
Yeah.
that he went and told us his inspirations and because I like that. But look, I'm a creative, we're all creatives here, and I don't think any idea just comes out of nowhere. You get inspiration from all these
Oh.
places and you put it together,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it special to you and your identity. Tell me about this Pantheon
Absolutely. I
series.
think
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I think anybody who thinks that they're like coming up with the brand new thing, everybody enjoys things and takes inspiration from all the stories that they love, and your unique take on it is what you bring to the table for the
Mhm.
story.
Yeah. So if our listeners want more information, how do they find your books? Where can they find you? And tell us a little bit where you're at. Socials, we talked about that.
Sure, yeah.
Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, so I write under the pen name S.A. Klopfenstein, and so my website's author S.A. Klopfenstein, and I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and all the social media under S.A. Klopfenstein, so you can find me there. And then the easiest way to find my books is on Amazon. The ebooks are exclusive there, and my audiobooks are everywhere. So if you listen to audiobooks on any platform, you can probably find it. You can ask for them from the library and things like that.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And your latest book is Guild War. It came out late last year, just released late last
Yeah.
year. It's the third book in your Pantheon series. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
I love this. Let me shed a little light on this Pantheon series for you. The genre of book is called lit RPG. That's a literary role play game, basically. So,
Yeah.
what that means is, if you're familiar with the video games, the RPG video games, and you got HP and MP, all your hit points, Steven has actually put that into the book. So this is a type of genre. This is cool to me, Steven. This takes a lot of
That's awesome.
brain power to put this together, man. Tell me, like, how did you get all like where did that inspiration come from? Was it actually
Yeah.
RPG video games?
Yeah, for sure. So I've had this idea for a long time. So lit RPG is an up and coming genre that's a subgenre of fantasy that has basically emerged out of the indie publishing community. So basically big time publishers aren't publishing this stuff, but they're just starting to pay attention because there's people making millions of dollars writing these books. And so there's a couple of series like they launch in the top 10 on Amazon every time. and stuff like that. So now they're starting to take notice because people want this type of book. But yeah, so it takes it. I think of it as basically like you get a little older and you had tons of time and tons of fun playing video games, and then you get to a stage where you have a lot less time. You can't like a game comes in days binge playing. Some people
Blaine,
can, but
Blaine can relate to this.
yeah,
Yes.
Blaine
Oh,
still
yes.
can. But so this kind of feeds into that. Basically, you take it. A lot of it's like game nostalgia and stuff. For me, one of my favorite games was Skyrim
Oh, yeah.
and Assassin's Creed, especially the early
Yep.
ones. And so I poured a lot of those, probably my enjoyment for those two games in particular, into this series. The setting is like a city filled with assassins and thieves,
Even
things like
even
that.
even the cover of Den of Thieves.
Yeah.
It's very Assassin's Creed inspired.
Yeah,
I love
I
it.
literally sent my designer. I was like, "Here's some Assassin's Creed images. I want people to see this cover and be like, and it like triggers some Assassin's Creed
Recognizable.
nostalgia."
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's
so
awesome.
that was totally what I was going for. The actual storyline of the series is very very different from Assassin's Creed, but just some of the gameplay, some of the action and stuff still touches on those vibes, and then there's some dashes of
Yeah.
just some kind of classic fantasy stuff mixed in there too. That you
World of
wouldn't see in
Warcraft and-
Assassin's Creed, yeah. You've got all your typical fantasy creatures, orcs and kobolds, and different things like that are thrown in there too. So it's a mishmash.
I'll tell you what,
sometimes.
Steve. I'll tell you what. I got to get you on game related. with
I was
these.
gonna say, here it comes.
We'll get real deep in there and start talking about stuff because I'd like to talk to you about other RPG games, man, like The Witcher and Fallout
Yeah.
and even Final Fantasy Chrono Trigger, one of the greatest of all time, right there.
Yeah.
I could nerd out all day, but we're not going to do it right here.
Hey, listen, we just shut down that stereotype. We're no longer calling you that.
That's right.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, no, I love it.
I do want to have you on game related. We're going to do that. We'll get more
Oh, that'd be
in-depth
fun.
with books. We'll get more on that. But for now, appreciate you jumping on the show with us. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Great interview with Stephen Kloffenstein from right here in Daybreak, author of The Shadow Watch. That's his latest book. That's a great book. I got him right here still.
I need to borrow your copy. Guilty. I still have not read it. I need to borrow your copy.
No, I can't let you borrow these because these are signed, and I don't know. You'll hold on to them if I let you
You
borrow
know where
these.
to find me, Blaine. You
Uh-huh.
know where to find me.
Yeah, but he's got the Shadow Watch series, and then he had the Pantheon series, Den of Thieves. You can find both of those books out there wherever you find books. Now I'm ready for this. This is gonna be fun. We're about to go out to our Super Bowl correspondents, Alex Hardy and former Denver Bronco Nick Ferguson,
Berg.
down there at Radio Row. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Hey, guys. So good to have you.
Appreciate you guys. Love being a part of the family.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys, man. So, Nick, you actually at one point was helping coach for the San Francisco 49ers, and this was back in what, 2017ish?
2017 and 2018.
So that was the beginning of this team that we're seeing in the Super Bowl now. So how much credit do you want to take for getting these guys into the Super Bowl?
All of it. Take all of it.
No, you know what? I'm not going to take any of the credit. The only thing is, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that I didn't get a chance to experience any of this because if you know my career, we got there 2005, 2006 season. We played against the Pittsburgh Steelers and we lost at home. And everyone thinks that when you lose, well, all the coaches are going to come back, all the players are going to come back. We're going to make another run. It's going to be sort of like Patriots and Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and it was anything of the sort. So I'm a little bitter that I didn't get a chance to experience. So right now, I live vicariously through John Lynch, my former teammate, Kyle Shanahan, and also his father, Mike Shanahan, who I talk to on an everyday basis. So, yeah, man. And if you wanted to know right away who I was rooting for, I just told you.
Yeah, Bex, what you got for him?
I don't know, Blaine. I mean, I'm just like so overwhelmed. I don't even know how to handle this. Like our family is just going to be a massive rivalry. Like we're about 50%, 50%. I don't know if I should be telling you this, Nick, but we've got some KC fans in my house. We've got some longtime Niner fans in our house. We're trying to convert the one to the other. I'll let you figure out what's what.
You mentioned Brady and those Patriots always being back. That's what the Chiefs have sort of become, right, Nick? Where they're a constant in the AFC Championship. They don't have the same success quite yet, but they're underdogs for the first time, I think, ever in their third, fourth Super Bowl appearance. I mean,
But before Nick answers it, I gotta say, I get mad when I keep seeing underdog, and you hear it's their fourth Super Bowl in the last 5 years. If that was anybody else, that's a dynasty. That's
it's
not underdog.
though.
That's
they're
a
not
dynasty.
my Patriots yet. They're not my Patriots yet.
But Nick, what do you think about that? Do you think KC lives off of being the underdog though? Are they getting a kick out of that or what?
Well, yeah, they do, because consider what you guys just said. When you think about Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, they have been in this moment a lot. And being a Broncos fan and living here in Denver, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm just telling you. I mean, it's getting on my damn nerves, right? But here's the reason why they're considered underdog, because remember at the start of the season and even towards the end of the season, how awful their receivers were. And now Kansas City, they're winning games with their defense or because of their defense, not their offense. So that's why they're viewed as being underdogs and have been thus far.
Well, you're forgetting that Travis Kelce is playing his best football for the end of the year. I'm sure it has nothing to do with his relationship that has completely overshadowed the NFL season. People ask me, what's the storyline of the Super Bowl? It has to be Taylor Swift. There's an effect that it is having not just on the NFL landscape, the game within the lines, but people talking about football because Taylor's there.
Wow.
That's special.
I'm glad you asked that, Alex. I thought Blaine was throwing that to me to talk about Tay-Tay, but I'm safe. I'm safe.
No, I love Taylor Swift. I love what she's been doing for NFL. I love for how she's been exposing some of these misogynist people on social media, because they're getting upset because they see a girlfriend and boyfriend being happy on television. She's enjoying a football game. She gets shown for less than 60 seconds a game. It's not new that they show celebrities at games. Come on. And she's brought in over $300 million for Kansas City for that ball club. That's crazy.
That seems low.
That was like last week. This number could be higher. I guarantee this will be one of the most watched Super Bowls. Hey, is she gonna make it though? She's got that show in Tokyo.
Of course.
Oh yeah, her flight time is pretty tight, I hear.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think about this Taylor Swift stuff though, Ferg? What are you thinking?
First and foremost, I have to say this. Now I can divulge to people that I listen to Taylor Swift, because
Let's go.
being a black guy in Denver, that's not what I'm supposed to listen to. So I can toss it out there. I do happen to have her song "Bad Blood" on my playlist, because when I'm working out and I need to work into a lather and I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I automatically go Bad Blood, and it gives me the energy. And the idea of Taylor Swift missing this game, the NFL will not allow it, because, like you said, they generated so much money because of her. Kyle Juszczyk's wife, right, who made Taylor Swift's jacket,
It's cool. It's really cool what she's doing.
Deal with the NFL.
That's wild.
It's like, look, man, it's about get in where you fit in. And once again, here's what I'll do. It's the only thing I'll say about Taylor Swift that's negative. Because of Taylor Swift, those ticket prices I mentioned earlier have now gone up. That's why.
What are those prices? Because what were they again? What's those prices?
They were starting at probably about 6,000, and they're starting to move up. So those prices are higher than a giraffe ass.
Yeah.
Lane, I see you scowling over there, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we're rolling into the weekend here. They're gonna be way above and beyond that.
You might see me sitting up in Taylor's box. I might get an invite to Taylor's box. But I think somebody did say that the NFL would push the time of the game. I heard about that. They said they would push and I think they would. Why wouldn't you?
Think about it. It's not just pushing the time of the game, but it's making sure that Taylor, once again, she's wealthy. so she can get on the private jet and get there on time. And oh, by the way,
Yeah.
they will make sure that there is a police escort to
Oh,
get
yeah.
her
Oh,
in
for
the press
sure.
box. And here's how crazy Taylor Swift mania has been. When she went to the Jets game, now you know that there's a Deadpool movie that's coming out. Hugh Jackman is in the movie. Both he and Ryan Reynolds were in the box with her, but they didn't show those two guys. They showed her.
Yeah.
And as a comic book fan, I was a little upset with that because I wanted to see you.
I love that, man. And one more thing about her, she just won Album of the Year. Who goes to the Grammys, goes up with her acceptance speech, and says, "Oh, by the way, for the last 2 years, I've been working on an album even better than this."
Yep.
I loved it, man.
Yeah.
It was baller
Yeah.
move, man. Like what is it? The Tortured Poets Department. I can't wait to hear that. I'll be
Yeah.
the first to say it. I'll be the first to say it. I am a T Swizzle fan all the way. I love what she's doing for the NFL. Honestly, the rest of these
Yeah.
leagues the rest of the leagues need to start getting her at their games. It's almost like how Lionel Messi did it for the MLS.
Yes.
All them
Yeah.
ticket prices have gone wild. But I know he's a player, but you got the same type of effect going on with just somebody about being at the game. Man, they better not break up. I'll be devastated if them two.
No.
break up.
See, no. See, Blaine, you're looking at it the wrong way, right? See, with them
Okay.
being together, it's a good thing. If they were to break up, guess what? We all get better music.
Oh, that's true. We're getting some
Oh,
fire
there it
albums,
is.
and Travis Kelce probably put up some MVP numbers out there taking out the aggression on the field. So I wouldn't doubt it a bit.
We'll listen to Tortured Poets Society. I keep calling it Dead Poets Society.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll listen to the Tortured Poets, and if she's out there writing about route concepts and 87 over the middle of the field, we'll know there's blood in the water. We know there are going to be problems there.
Exactly.
I know we're running a little short here, so just to wrap things, Nick, I want you to pick who wins the game and what's the score.
I am going to pick San Francisco because I feel that Kyle, last time they played, I believe it was 2020, they left some plays
Yes.
out there. And Jimmy Garoppolo, all he needed to do is run on 2 plays. He didn't run. It gave Kansas City the advantage. So I'm going to go 49ers in this game. And I'm going to say 28-21.
Ooh.
28-21.
All right, I like that. What about you, Alex?
Well, good content means hosts disagreeing with each other. I'm going to take the Chiefs 23-17. It's amazing that the last pick in an NFL draft is now a starting quarterback for a Super Bowl team. Brock Purdy would be one of the big stories had it not been for the Chiefs or Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce. But I think it's really cool and special to see that Brock Purdy was here in Southern California after he was Mr. Irrelevant, pick number 262 in the NFL draft, now starting in a Super Bowl. I think that's pretty special, but still not enough for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And let's be real, Brock Purdy, he couldn't even afford a ticket to the Super Bowl.
No,
Think about it.
he's a professional NFL player, and he has roommates.
Roommates.
He's
He has to
making
live in San Francisco. You kidding with rent out there?
Bex,
We
you're making
know what
Bex,
we know what real estate is like there.
Bex,
we got an idea.
you're making more money in real estate here, Bex, than Brock Purdy's making out there in the NFL as a quarterback.
Yeah,
That's right.
Mystery.
Well, all right, Bex, let's ask you. Who do you got for the game? Or are you just watching for
I'm going to be in
Taylor?
trouble either way I answer. But you know I got to go for my Niners. So
okay.
I'm going to go for the Niners and 28-14.
28-14. Nice.
Blowout alert.
I think it's going to be the Chiefs all the way. I think it's going to be like 35-17 Chiefs. I'm just going to say that. I think it's going to be they look good, man. I like them. I do like Mahomes. I like Kelce. That's the thing, too. Travis Kelce was a hell of a player before Taylor Swift. Let's just be real about that. He was great before that.
Yep.
I love when people try to take away from either one of them, and you're like, no. They both had their own successes. Let them be. So,
Yeah, there's
I
no
love-
touching Taylor's numbers, but he just passed, speaking of the night, he just passed Jerry Rice with the
Yeah.
most touchdowns, catches in playoff history. Like that is special. You have to get to the playoffs, and they may have added playoff games, but he is accomplished in his own right. That's for
I
sure.
love it.
You know
That's
what? You know
true
what, guys?
definition of a power couple.
Next time we do this, I got to give you guys a little secret, right?
Okay.
How about this for a tease? The next time we talk, I'll tell you exactly how to stop Travis Kelce.
Oh,
All right.
So,
Okay.
so the Niners. So you're pulling for your Niners, and you're going to tell them after the game.
No, I'm not going to tell them. I mean, I know coaches on the staff, so all I have to do is text them,
Shoot 'em.
hey, make sure you pay attention to these things.
I love
Okay.
that. All right, don't tell us ahead of time there because you don't want to get the game plan. So text that out, and then we'll talk to you again, and we'll see how it
There you
worked
go.
out. But I appreciate you guys jumping on with us. It's Nick Ferguson and Alex Hardy. They got their own show right here. We don't even have a name for you guys' show yet, but we will. It's just Alex and Nick.
We had too much to say. We let the cat out of the bag.
They don't need a name. They've
No,
got
they
the
don't.
name.
They
My name, yeah, our name is Nick Ferguson. He's the name.
That's
Well,
true.
no, you can just call us those guys.
Those guys. I
guys.
like that. I like that. Those guys.
guys.
Here's those guys with us again. Appreciate you guys jumping on. This has been fun.
Yes.
The next time we talk to, we're going to have Nick Ferguson is going to actually host his own relationship show here at one point too, because
Oh, I like it.
he gives great relationship advice. That's not. I'm not even kidding about that. He led me to my
Nick, I learned
wife.
something new about you. All right, I'm all ears. We've got
If
to
it
listen
hadn't
to
been seriously, if it hadn't been for Ferg, I might not have ended up with Lindsay. No joke. That's wild. That's,
Oh, okay.
I don't
There's
even
a
know that story.
there.
oh yeah, it's there's my tease. There's my tease for the next time. Appreciate you guys jumping on,
Great to
man.
see you
Thank
guys. Thanks
That
again.
explained. Thank you both very much.
All right, that was Nick Ferguson and Alex Hardy, host of the sports show here. It's called Those Guys. You heard it. They call it Those Guys. That's what we're going with for the name. So that was Those
I love
Guys
it.
at
Fitting.
Radio Row. Nick's great. I love Nick.
Yeah. Yeah, just good dudes. Just good dudes. And I love it because it's like their name is so perfect. It is. It's, those guys. You're just like hanging
Those
out with
guys.
them.
Those guys, yeah, man. Because they get into some dad talk on the show too, which is real fun. So
I love that. The whole relationship talk. Like you said,
Yeah.
you really can relate on a personal level. Everybody's in a relationship.
that's
I
no
love that.
joke. That's no joke. Ferg, if it wouldn't have been for me and Ferg sitting in a dark studio late, lots of nights talking about relationships, me and Lindsay wouldn't have happened.
Okay, I need to know about that story,
Oh,
Blaine.
yeah. We're
We
gonna
gotta
get
take
in-
a deep dive on that.
We'll have to let Ferg tell that, but this was an amazing show. Thanks to Skylar from UtahHustlers.com, Stephen Kloffenstein, and Alex and Ferg. Those guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Those guys.
We'll have to see how that Super Bowl turns out. I hope Taylor Swift makes it. Oh my gosh, if she doesn't,
Oh, I am sweating.
man. Until then,
She will.
RadioDaybreak.com. Go buy some merch. We'll see you guys next week.